So what's up? How you doing today? We are going to take a look at Slave to the Traffic Light. Just a kind of overview of the whole tune and some different ideas and things and some little kind of signature licks that Trey does during the jam section. But let's give a listen to me playing through the first part, the intro verse. And I'm going to break down and show you how there's three different kind of feels. I think of it as like there's an open sound, a closed, tight, more reggae sound, and then there's the very heavy section. But everything else all revolves around these kind of three main feels. So let's check out all the different things that are going on in the intro verse, and then we'll just kind of build up from there. So this tune, it kind of bounces around. It's like A mixolydian, A major. I'm not even really thinking too much mode. This is not a very kind of like mode heavy way of thinking of the tune, I think. But it goes from A to G and really, got a lot of these open strings and the A in the bottom here. So it's not a G, all right? It's a G over A. It's got an A pedal, right? And it's kind of just he's picking around. So he's going like this is like. Oopsie. Right? And sometimes just hanging on, so, very loose, but just what I wrote there, again, just a loose guide, just kind of showing you, like, those are the notes he's kind of picking hammer on, pulling off with things like that. But just the notes, just these two, really that you're focused on. And that's a few times, and then just kind of, just this right here. And then coming in on the D, I say 7/4. I don't even know. I couldn't figure out exactly what the measure was. It's a weird timing. But just playing up here, throwing on some distortion though, And then again, just some little fill ideas, but it's basically the idea of just playing a D chord up here and then kicking it back down here clean. And sometimes he'll throw that little fill in there, or you could not do it all, So that's the opposite, the contrasting part. Then it goes back to the other part again. The open sound, A. This time G instead of here. This is a great one for learning triads. I'm thinking about making a whole video on ways of exercises for this particular tune, the jam section for your triads. If you don't know your triads, you gotta know them for this. They're just a huge thing to know in general. That's just the building blocks of chords, if you know what it is. So here's your A triad. They call it root position. This is a G, but it's in a first inversion and stuff. I'm not going to get into it all. We'll save it for the other video. But he's playing A, G here, and then going up to D. Throwing some fills sometimes. E, so you're just going E, D to E. And then some harmonics. So does that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. He's doing that. And sometimes the timing is a little tricky. You probably heard I was a little off. Times the guitar and the bass. It's hard to know without, doing it live with people watching them for kind of cues when it comes in. It's a little different each time. And then the 4th time, it's going to go. just bouncing around with those 12th, 7, 5 frets for the harmonics. And then back to the Titan. And then it's going to kick into the chorus part, but let's give a listen to that and beyond, and then we'll see what's going on. So the chorus is just more of the same stuff, just playing that A. This time back versus G, a little more simple because they're focused on singing, harmonizing together. Just that 4 times. Then that same D, the weird measure. This time I put up, little things like that. Just again, doesn't have to be exact. You just hit D the whole time. Just use your ear and experiment with these different notes. The 12th fret, just. And just find out, little things that you think sound good. And then back to the type thing for the verse. I wrote just 3, but you could do the 4 frets, it doesn't matter, whatever. And but then this time it goes the second measure. So quick hits. And then we're going to. So it's 2 times of that, and then now we're going more of an open sound, even though he's playing these closed chords. And then Mike's doing all these big fills. So 3 times of that, and then the big hits. 3 times of that, and then just a measure 2, 4, and now we're into the big heavy part. So let's give a listen to this. I'm just kind of just improvising my own way through it, but I'll show you kind of my approach there, what's going on, and some things that Trey might be doing himself. So let's give it a listen. So, I'm just going to play clean, but we got obviously big, crazy distortion here. It's just E minor, right? And you can use the E minor scale, but it's a lot of just E, minor pentatonic, E blues scale type stuff. Just ripping it up here. And then, actually, I was going to make a signature licks video. I do that sometimes where I'll pick a few licks from a particular version or different versions and compare for different players. And I just decided to scrap that one, but I was gonna, try to just do it in this lesson, but I didn't actually spend the time to I wrote them out a while ago, so I didn't get them down, but I'll put the lick, above so you can see it, and I'll put it in a PDF, and if you want the stuff, I've got it all on my Patreon account. You can get the track, get the PDFs, all that kind of stuff, and then you got it, then it's yours. But if you want to then listen to the real version, go to a live one, and I got the timestamp for this one lick from this part, and then a couple from the jam section that we'll get to later. But one where he starts it off up here, and then he's doing this heavy stuff and down here. But the main gist of it is just all, E minor pentatonic, and then he ends it on just part of a D chord like that, And then Page does the piano thing, kicking it back in, or you could, I was doing my little thing, I like to do this a lot. Same type of thing there, and then Page does, now he's playing the Rhodes, he's doing his little thing there. And in the recording, I forgot to throw it in there, but then we're getting to the next part where Trey does come in, and he comes in on the D, or you can play it open, however, and then you have these very quiet hits. It sounds like E minor, C, but he's not playing the full chord, he's just playing the bar chord. Or, sorry, power chord for the first two. So quiet. Oops. And that's it. It kicks into the jam there. So let's give the jam a listen to. Not the whole thing. I'm just going to show you a couple things I'm doing, but we're going to break it down to 3 parts. The mellow part, the build up, and then the kind of more peaking part. So let's give the mellow part a listen, and I'll show you what's kind of going on with that. So in this one here, it's kind of like, I think of it as like painting around, and you're seeing the painting take more shape. It's like listening or watching, a painter paint in the moment, and you don't know what they're doing, and it takes more shape. So this revolves all around the main thing that the whole song has been kind of teasing, which is, A, G, D, E, with a lot of this pedal, but it starts off more just kind of playing A. Mike's really taking the lead a lot in this stuff, in a lot of versions. And Trey often has a little delay on there too. I'll just keep it clean though. And then you can just play A. You can play all these little sus things, like it's playing A here. We just throw this B in right here. Or it's a different version of it here. And then start to eventually slowly be getting there. Just all these little triad shapes help. And you can play around, with it. And it shouldn't always be totally matching up with the band. Everybody in the band, it's like it's kind of like off. It's dissonant, but it takes, and everybody's kind of like doing like, oh, they're hanging on the A a little more. The one's kind of outlining the chords a little more, and it's all like more like butting heads. But sometimes it's in, sometimes it's out, and then it starts to take again more shape as it goes on, and kind of comes together and builds up. So with that in mind, let's give a listen to the next part, where it's building up there. So this one, I'm just gonna focus on, you know, the fact that, you know, you're getting the chord progression going more. You can play in different spots, but then he gets to this one lick here again. I had planned for signature licks, playing an A power chord, and then just this. It's kind of like part of just an A pentatonic. You know, I'm thinking of A major pentatonic, and then just playing. It's like G, just these middle two strings open, and then a D power chord, just these middle two, and he slides up to the E. So it's like 3 times. Kind of outlining each chord and playing that lick in between, and then the last time playing that, you know, I think a couple times. I might have played 4 times in my example. I forget. Maybe I went too crazy with it, but that's a signature lick that Trey often does. They're kind of like starting to peak, you know. But the bigger peak, let's give that a listen and see what's going on with that. So it's essentially the same idea here. Once he gets way up there, you know, and I'm a little bit of max. This guitar, you know, I only have a few electrics. I should say only a few. It's you know, I'm very fortunate to have a few electric, but I just know so many people that have like a million guitars. Anyways, my point is, this is my most trailer guitar, but it's unfortunately only has 20 frets instead of 24. And so it's a little limiting with some of the stuff I wanted to do on this, but we're up here. That whole idea of now we're way up here. So I wrote more an exact moment and timestamp. Again, listen to that version if you want to hear exactly how Trey's doing this. I kind of think of this as the peak lick, and it's just a repeat of this one down here, coming back to that theme. And that's something that's missing a lot of times in people's improvs, that they're just kind of, you know, loosely going around, and it just kind of like doesn't really go anywhere. But Trey, of course, is such a master, just bringing it back and just doing things in just the right way, just the right timing. And a lot of that is bringing it back to things that he did before. And that makes it's like, oh, taking its way out there, then you bring it back to something that hits you real hard, of like that familiar, like, oh yeah, sometimes you forget even what song are they playing, and it's like, oh yeah, they're playing Slave to the Traffic Light or whatever, you know, whatever it is. So you get that lick. And then, you know, I was also doing some like stuff for more arpeggiating, you know, classic Trey stuff where I couldn't get the C sharp I wanted here, because I go up to a C, but just outlining the chords, think of it as this shape for A, G, and then this shape for D, and then maybe you could do that for the D. So just kind of that kind of stuff. I'm trying to get better at that kind of, like, you know, they call it the twiddly D, twiddly, you know, like in Wayne's World, that kind of stuff. It's something that I never really put into my own playing much, but trying to get into it. And those are just ways you can do it, just kind of outlining the chords. Just lots of little pull-offs, and just got to work on your speed. And then that's it. Goes then into to F, G, A, and sometimes he's doing little fills, rip in between, and then just like before, repeating the F, G, and then A, bring it back down to the A. That kind of stuff. So that's it, you know. There's a lot in there. The timing, a lot of this stuff, and the feel is tricky, and there's so much you can do in the jam. It's just such a open-ended type of jam there. But yet it doesn't it's not open-ended in the way they sometimes will, like, go in completely different directions. It's within this still kind of framework, but really playing and again painting around with that. So have fun with that, and if you want to try it out with the backing track, I'll put a link over here and in the description, of course, down below. And have fun with it. And if you want to check out the Patreon stuff where you can get the charts, check that out. Put a link down below as well. And I'll see you in one of the next videos.